Richard, let me ask you, what, in your opinion, are the ambitious initiatives and drives that you think are helping to drive measurable outcomes?
The initiatives that I have seen in the United States, starting with the United States, that have worked are those that are intersectional, those that bring together those that are living through similar lives and paths and journeys. And those that have not succeeded as well are those that stay within the silos where the problems exist. And those that can reach across and say, you and I are different, but you and I are the same. And we can find those commonalities. We can find the policies and the measures that work. The example that you brought up earlier, Dr. Shola, of looking at those of African and Asian descent in the United States, they are different. And they are not always holding hands. But most of the time, they are holding hands.
Yes.
And most of the time, they are walking lockstep. We just can't forget that. We can't forget that all across the world, there have been those times where we are locking arms. In the U.S. specifically, we forget that in the 1960s, it was all of those of colors of the rainbow that were working together. It was in the 1990s in the United States where we had something called the Rainbow Coalition with Jesse Jackson. And you saw the very same. And so when we forget those times that synergy happens, that moment where we can look each other in the eye and see that below all of this stuff, there's a human underneath. And that is a very simple and practical way to approach policy and initiatives. And so, for instance, here in Manhattan, there's something called Silicon Harlem. And there, Clayton Banks brings together those who believe that in a largely African-American, Latino-American community, that it can be the new Silicon Valley. And those great hopes and those great ideas that are true because of the very collection of a fabric of new ideas is where something like Silicon Valley can happen, but it can happen here in Harlem. And so it's those gatherings of all sorts of communities that happens every year, for instance, here in Manhattan, that when that does happen, those initiatives start to succeed. And we've seen it before.
Very well said, Richard. You know what? United we stand, divided we fall.